Okay, so, dann können wir jetzt anfangen. Wunderbar. Cum tempore. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, dear colleagues and partners from Kenya and from Germany, dear Irene Karari, dear President, lieber Armin, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you to the Kammergespräch. I'm particularly delighted to welcome our distinguished guest, Honorable Roseline Njogu, CBS, Principal Secretary of the State Department for Diaspora Affairs of the Republic of Kenya. We had very much hoped to welcome you, dear Roseline, here in person. Unfortunately, for health reasons, you were unable to undertake the journey. From this place, our very best wishes for a speedy and full recovery to Nairobi, and our best wishes for a stable connection to Kenya. We are all more than grateful that you, Roseline, are able to join us, maybe online this evening. For us, this is a premiere, and at the same time, a strong sign of how committed you are to this partnership and to our dialogue. We are very happy that you are with us today, even if at a distance. Dear Roseline, it was a great pleasure to meet you in Nairobi last October. I was deeply impressed by your pragmatic, warm, and open manner, especially by the way you care for young Kenyans who are seeking their professional future abroad. It is truly wonderful to see you soon again after just a few months. We are deeply honored by your participation and by your willingness to share your perspective with us today. But ladies and gentlemen, how did the visit from Kenya and this evening come about? Our starting point was a customer journey project entitled Let's Work and Live in Nuremberg. In this project, here in Nuremberg, we asked ourselves a central question. How do an international skilled professional actually experience his or her arrival and his or her path in our city? Important partners joined us on this journey: the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees, the Federal Employment Agency, IHK-FOSA, the City of Nuremberg, the Government of Central Franconia, the Chamber of Crafts for Central Franconia, and others. At first, this journey took place entirely here in Nuremberg, with our authorities, chambers, and institutions. And I can tell you, for all of us, this journey was highly enlightening and consequential. On the graphic recording in the back of the room, you can see the results that we are now implementing together in a very consistent way. And from the very beginning, one thing was clear to us. For skilled workers, this journey does not begin in Nuremberg. It begins much earlier in their respective home countries. And so the idea emerged to extend this customer journey forward, so to speak. We wanted to understand what this path feels like from the perspective of those who, in their country of origin, decide to set out for Germany. That is why, for the first time in October last year, we conducted such a customer journey in a country of origin. Kenya proved to be a particularly fitting choice. First, because in the year 2024, the Federal Republic of Germany concluded its most recent migration agreement with the Republic of Kenya. And second, because we had a strong and trusted partner in our chamber network at our side in IHK-Kenya. And as it turned out, truly wonderful and highly committed partners in Kenya, with whom it has been and continues to be a real pleasure to work. In this way, a Nuremberg perspective became a shared view along the entire journey, from Kenya to Germany, or as we put it, from Nairobi to Nuremberg. And this shared journey is, in fact, the real background to tonight's event. Last October, Dr. Adis Mulugeta and I had the privilege of being in Nairobi. Together with our partners, we did something rather unusual for public administration and economic policy. We put ourselves in the shoes of Kenyan professionals who want to come to Germany. We followed their path step by step, from the first idea through training, recognition, recruitment, and visa procedures. We embarked on the customer journey from Nairobi to Nuremberg. The second graphic recording in the back illustrates the results of our joint work. I can hardly express how delighted I am that so many Kenyan partners who contributed to this customer journey have come to Nuremberg as members of the delegation, which is now led by your dear Irene Karari. And let me repeat that simple yet powerful insight. Arrival in Germany does not begin at the airport in Nuremberg or any other point of entry into Germany. It begins in Kenya. Successful migration is not a sequence of disconnected steps. It must be a continuous journey without breaks, without contradictions, without blind spots. Every institution involved needs to know the others, coordinate its actions, and provide clear, consistent guidance. For skilled workers, this must translate into trust, orientation, and confidence. With Germany and Kenya, two countries have come together that both face profound demographic challenges, but in opposite directions. Germany is becoming too old. Kenya, on the other hand, is extraordinarily young with an average age of under 20. In such a constellation, cooperation is not only sensible, it is an obvious choice. It allows us to turn demographic imbalance into shared opportunity. Out of this customer journey process emerged concrete projects, a shared information framework, a digital one-stop platform, harmonized training pathways, permanent institutional coordination, and joint awareness efforts. These are not abstract ideas. They are operational tools to turn political agreements into opportunities in the real world. And this is where the importance of your visit, Roseline and Irene, and the whole group becomes truly tangible. Roseline, you were the central negotiator on the Kenyan side of the German-Kenyan migration agreement. You helped shape the political foundation for a new era of cooperation between our countries, one that is based on partnership, fairness, and mutual benefit. This agreement is not only a diplomatic milestone, it is a promise to young people in Kenya and to companies in Germany that mobility can be structured, reliable, and humane. But agreements only become reality when people and institutions give them life. The State Department for Diaspora Affairs plays a central role in exactly this, ensuring that mobility is fair, transparent, and beneficial for individuals, for families, and for both our societies. In this ecosystem, IHK Kenya is a crucial operational bridge. As of November 2024, the IHK Kenya runs a project called Skilled Workers for Germany. We are very happy that Bruno Backes, the head of vocational training and the Labor Mobility Center at the IHK, and Mercy Katuku, the project manager for Skilled Workers for Germany, are present today. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening is about doing things together. Tomorrow, we will take a concrete next step by signing a letter of intent on our future cooperation. This letter of intent will be signed by the State Department for Diaspora Affairs, by IHK Nuremberg, by IHK Kenya, and by the newly established Work and Stay Center Mittelfranken G GmbH. Wow. This new organization was founded just a few weeks ago. It will take on the role of a regional welcome center. It is currently being built up and will become a central point of guidance, counseling, and support for international professionals and their families, including, very specifically, Kenyan skilled workers coming to our region. It will support them from day one. The Work and Stay Center Mittelfranken has been founded jointly by IHK Nuremberg and the Chamber of Crafts for Central Franconia. At this point, I would therefore like to extend a special welcome to my colleague from the Chamber of Crafts, Dr. Rainer Wolf. Great to have you here. For us, this is more than an organizational detail. It is a strong signal of how closely our two institutions work together and how seriously we take our shared responsibility for successful arrival and long-term retention. Dear Roseline, we would be deeply honored if you would return or come to Nuremberg as our guest of honor when we open this center. Do not be surprised, we will send you an invitation in good time. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are not just welcoming a high-ranking representative of our partner country, we are welcoming one of the key architects of a new chapter in German-Kenyan cooperation. Dear Roseline, we are very grateful that you are here with us online this evening. We look forward to your insights, your vision, and your impulse for how we can jointly shape fair, transparent, and future-oriented mobility between our countries. Welcome to Nuremberg, welcome to the IHK, and thank you for being part of this journey. Here you are. Roseline, the stage is yours.
Very good. Before you move out of the stage, my friend Marcus, could you confirm that you can hear me clearly? Am I audible in Nuremberg? Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear? Loud und klar? Yeah? Okay, very well. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me, and I want to thank you once again for inviting me to speak with you. And I'm happy that I'm able to join you this evening. I'm a little sad that I wasn't able to make my trip to Nuremberg. I have looked forward to it since we last spoke in October, when I met Marcus and a little bit of your team, and we had, we started to create this new idea of this deepening this collaboration of ours. So I have been looking forward to this. Unfortunately, my health has not been the best in the last month or so, so I have been unable to make this trip. But I have noted that you have invited me to come to the opening of the Work and Stay Center. I intend to come. I had been hoping to come and have some schnitzel and some, what is it called? Your white sausage, which I really, really love. I had been hoping to get some of that. So I am looking forward, I'm really looking forward to that. But if you allow, once again, let me thank you for very kindly and generously hosting my delegation that is now led by my colleague, Irene Karari, and to assure you that you're in good hands. And to thank you once again for, assembling such a wonderful group of people here at the Chamber to have this conversation about how do we begin to deepen this relationship between Kenya and Germany, and centering this relationship here in Nuremberg. As you said, agreements often can remain paper, but it is relationships and the deepening of relationships such as this one that actually breathes life into them. So if you'll allow, I will make some comments or some quick remarks on this idea of beyond borders, the Kenyan diaspora's impact on youth employment in Kenya and in Germany. Or put another way, I would call it, what are we doing here? What is this about? What difference does it make in Kenya and in Germany? So distinguished guests and representatives of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and members of the business community, members of our various teams of the Kenyan diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have the opportunity to address you today, and I sincerely want to thank the IHK Nuremberg for convening this important dialogue. I bring you warm greetings from the government and the people of the Republic of Kenya. And when I say warm greetings, I mean that in every way. I am aware that you are still very much within your winter, and we are in some of our hottest months here in Nairobi. It is close to 28 degrees Celsius, so it has been a hot January. So I really bring very warm greetings. I had the opportunity to meet your foreign minister last week, who was here, and we had an opportunity to speak again about our cooperation, the cooperation between Kenya and Germany, especially around labor mobility, which is something that is extremely important, not just for your government, but also for the government of Kenya, and forms part of the major interventions of this administration. So our gathering today, or our conversation today, really speaks to this powerful idea that borders need not limit opportunity. About a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, while we were still in the negotiation of this agreement, I had an opportunity to speak to a group of esteemed colleagues such as yours that had gathered. And one of the things I said to a room full of Germans was that one of the things I enjoy a lot is superhero movies, superhero shows, especially the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And in one of my favorite movies, I think it is inspired No Way Home, somebody's wearing the multiverse now. And I like that phrase a lot because it does speak to the idea of what we are doing here. Indeed, we are in the multiverse now as far as talent is concerned. Nobody can keep their talent at home. Nobody can keep their talent within their own borders. We are now playing in the multiverse in terms of market, labor market, as well as talent. And when migration is well managed, then it becomes a bridge that connects economies, it creates jobs and opportunities, it strengthens societies in both countries of origin and countries of destination. And migration in many parts of the world, and increasingly in the times that we live, is becoming a very polarizing issue. And you will rarely find people having conversation around migration in positive light. But we know that when migration is well managed, it presents win-wins for both countries. So as you might know, Kenya's diaspora is not just our community abroad, it is, as we view them, a strategic development partner. Across all of Africa, diaspora remittances in the last few years have always outdone official development assistance, which really means that in many ways, African diaspora are not just a strategic development partner, but they have become a decolonizing force. Through their work, through their expertise, through their remittances, skills, knowledge, and technology transfer, we see diasporas in amazing ways contributing directly to the economic growth of their countries of origin, as well as to job creation. In Germany, for example, we know that Kenyan professionals are playing on both sides. Kenyan professionals contribute in a big way to healthcare, engineering, ICT, manufacturing, and other services, which are sectors I am aware are vital for economic competitiveness, but continue to assure the German industry of its continued success. Back here at home, as they do those things within Germany, their remittances, their investments, mentorship and support of their families, of young businesses, of their businesses of friends and family, and young entrepreneurs is changing lives in very real ways. As Marcus has said, Kenya has a young and dynamic population. In fact, if you look at our demographic pyramid, the Kenyan pyramid and the German pyramid, they could quite simply be a jigsaw puzzle, right? So the Kenyan pyramid sort of looks like this, and the German one sort of looks something like this. And that means there are real opportunities for synergies. As Marcus said, the median age in Kenya is 19, which means that we have a large number of young people, and every day, every single year, we have about 1 million people joining the workforce, or 1 million people beginning to look for work because they have qualified and have aged out of education institutions. So creating decent work for these young people is a national priority under this administration's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, as well as under our Vision 2030. Tied to that, you will note that Kenya spends 30 to 33% of its budget on education. So because we have such a youthful population, then a large part of our spending is actually in educating that youthful population. The next logical step then becomes, what do you do with this very well educated youth that you are turning out of universities, out of colleges, out of TVETs, and so on? And therefore, Kenya's strategy has been three-pronged, which has been to create jobs at home through programs such as our aggressive affordable housing program, to create jobs digitally by extending our capacities as far as the internet is concerned, and ensuring that we have ICT hubs in every single TVET and so on. But also the third prong, and which is why we're having this conversation, has been what we call kazi maju, or jobs abroad, diaspora jobs, labor mobility. So this is part of our broader strategy to deal with the blessing of having such a youthful population in such large numbers. So we know that Germany, including Bavaria, faces labor shortages in key sectors. You know, anecdotally, and I think I said this to Marcus when you visited us in October, on my first day on the job, I assumed office in December of 2022. And on my first day on the job, we had a meeting of the European Diplomatic Corps, and we met all of the ambassadors from Europe for a luncheon in Nairobi. And one of the first conversations I had was with the Austrian ambassador to Kenya, who mentioned to me that his country was urgently looking for talent. And we began the conversation, and then he quickly told me, but Germany's needs are even larger. You really do need to speak with Sebastian Groth. And so very quickly, Ambassador Groth and I began to speak. So in many ways, this agreement has been on my to-do list from the get-go. And I've been very excited to see that now we have been implementing it for a little bit over a year, and with a lot of success to speak about as we have continued. So, because Germany does have these labor shortages in key sectors, and because Kenya does have talent, specifically in the sectors that Germany is looking for and has its shortages, then this presents a shared opportunity to link youth employment opportunities for young Kenyans who need opportunities, to link them with skills needs in Germany through structured and ethical labor mobility. So for migration to deliver real impact, for migration to deliver dignity of work, and for migration to work for both source countries and destination countries, then it has to be skills based, it has to be ethically managed, it has to be demand driven. And that is what we attempted to structure within this agreement that we negotiated. And this requires strong systems for various things, including skills recognition, language preparation, and workplace integration. And I'm so glad to hear about the Work and Stay Center that we discussed again in October. I'm so glad to hear that we will soon have, a grand opening, and I'd be very happy to be a part of that, because workplace integration is critical in helping diaspora begin to quickly acclimatize and do well in their new home. So when young people migrate with recognized skills and very clear pathways, then they enter the labor market with dignity and with purpose, and they're more likely to stay. One of the things we identified as a challenge for us early on was the language barrier. But very quickly we began to put in place structures to ensure that more and more young people were taking up German language preparation. And I'm actually happy to note this earlier today, I received a letter from another university in Kenya that is rolling out a German language program. And so this has taken off, and I'm happy to see that we're beginning to deal with those challenges. So why am I having this conversation with you? Because we think that businesses and chambers of commerce, chambers of handicraft in particular, are critical stakeholders in ensuring the success of such an agreement. Indeed, you play an important role in identifying the skill needs, in supporting employer-led recruitment, in building confidence in international skills partnerships. Basically, the proof the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and this is where we're talking about eating of that pudding. So let me then say that we really value IHK's leadership in skills recognition, in workforce integration, and in private sector engagement. And we will continue to work with you to see how we can give more life into this agreement. And as you mentioned, Marcus, I am excited that the letter of intent is going to be signed, and very soon we'll be formalizing that or elevating that by signing an MOU with you to help us deepen this engagement. We see diaspora as bridges between economies. Diaspora are children of two different worlds. And for that reason, diaspora professionals are uniquely positioned to mentor younger workers, to facilitate business partnerships, to support innovation and entrepreneurship. But importantly, for our purposes, diaspora and diaspora associations are critical in helping other diasporas migrate well, acclimatize and integrate into new spaces. And so I know that in your work and stay center, the Kenyan diaspora in Germany is going to be heavily involved in helping Kenyans do well and settle in Nuremberg. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:41 p.m. in Nairobi. I should have started by saying Guten Abend. But let me say that the story of migration should not be one of loss, but one of shared gain. Often when I have to speak about migration, and often when I address journalists, I am always concerned about brain drain. It's a good question, but I think it misses the point. The point is, now that we are in the multiverse, now that we are in this almost borderless space, what does that mean? Can I truly hold on to one person's talent? In this day and age, we're not speaking so much about brain drain, but about brain circulation. Because while a nurse or an accountant might move from Nairobi or from Mombasa and come and work in Nuremberg, she sends her remittances home, but importantly, she picks up important skill, important networks, important technologies that she's then able to transfer back home. So in many ways, we see circulation of skills and circulation of brains within this multiverse. So when young Kenyans find meaningful work, when German businesses find the skills that they need, when diaspora communities thrive and contribute, I think it is fair to say that we all succeed. Let me end by saying Kenya remains committed to building partnerships that place people, skills, and dignity at the center of mobility. So I invite all stakeholders here. I invite the businesses that are here, the chambers that are here to work with us in turning migration to a force for inclusive growth. My team is available to speak with you about the various talent needs that your various businesses might actually have. And we're happy to continue to deepen our collaboration with you and make those pathways clearer or slicker, and help both your businesses and help Kenyan talent be able to exert and use their talent. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your attention, for your partnership, for your belief in opportunities beyond borders. Vielen Dank.
Thank you, Roseline. Is still there? Okay. Thank you, Roseline. Okay, you're there. Thank you for your insights and for your support, and it'll be a great and grand opening, I can promise. Are there any questions? Because Roseline is still there, and there's a first hand. You can ask in German. It will be translated into English. But we will need a microphone.
Wolf Maase, mittelständischer Unternehmer hier aus Nürnberg. und gleichzeitig auch Mitglied im IPD-Board in Berlin. IPD ist die Abkürzung für Import Promotion Desk, wo wir bestimmten Ländern für bestimmte Produkte helfen, sie nach Deutschland oder auch nach Europa insgesamt zu exportieren oder bei uns zu importieren. Und was ich nicht wusste, was ich gelernt habe und wo ich eine kleine Bestätigung bitte, auch der IT-Bereich ist ein sehr wichtiger in Kenia. Und da gibt es sehr viele ausgebildete und sehr gut ausgebildete Persönlichkeiten. Können Sie das bestätigen oder gibt es da vielleicht sogar noch mehr außer den Produkten, die wir auf diesem Wege mit nach Deutschland bringen könnten?
Okay. I'm from a medium-sized company here in Nuremberg, and I'm also a member of the IPT, the Import Promotion Desk, which makes sure that products from outside of Germany and Europe can be introduced and imported into Germany. And I learned, and I would ask you to confirm, that there's also a lot of IT talent in Kenya. And yes, if you could just confirm that and also tell me if there are other goods that could also be imported.
Would you like me to answer that, Marcus, or would you like us to take 2 or 3 questions and then answer them?
So let me add one more question. As we spoke about the pathway into Germany, into the German labor market, where do you see the biggest hurdles? When we went through this customer journey, we found many pain points, sometimes little things that make life so hard, and where we try to lower the hurdles and take away red tape. But in your eyes, what are the 2 or 3 biggest hurdles that Kenyans do face when they try to come to Germany?
So thank you for that. I can hear myself echoing all the way in Nuremberg. I don't know what to do about that.
You're good. We hear it loud and clear. Laut und klar.
Okay. Laut und klar. Danke. So really good questions. To answer the first question, yes, indeed, Kenya is actually very well known for our IT talent. This is the reason we are called the Silicon Savannah. Partly because we are extremely youthful, you will find a lot of IT talent here. But also we have a number of universities and middle-level colleges that have been training people in ICT skills for a long, long time. Anecdotally, you might know that a study that came out, I think it was last year, indicated that Kenyans are the #1 users per capita of ChatGPT. Not only are we #1 users in ChatGPT, but a lot of the AI engines are actually being trained in Kenya. Kenya has an AI strategy, for example. We have the Konza Technopolis that is sort of an aggregation of various technology businesses and interventions. But we've also been very aggressive in creating the digital superhighway that has been creating several thousand kilometers of fiber optic just to make sure that every part of this country sort of Kenyans have access to the internet, but also just aggressively teaching people IT skills, whether it is in TVETs, in universities, and so on. Let me give you a quick tip or a quick history piece. Around the time I finished high school, how long was it? 22 or so years ago. What happened in those days is that everybody, and I know the Kenyans in the room are going to start giggling about it, but at that time, every single person who finished high school went and did something we called computer packages. right? So they learned PowerPoint or Word and so on. And it was a thing. It was a crazy sort of fascination that everybody was doing. But what that meant is that very quickly Kenya built just a large number of people who actually had simple ICT skills. And on that, they were able now to build on to, become data scientists and, and so on and so forth. Let me also say a number of the large companies, IT companies now have offices in Kenya, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google, Amazon, and so on, again, because of the fantastic Kenyan talent in ICT that you find here. And you will find talent not just in ICT, but also, healthcare, hospitality, education. These are some of the ones that we are very, very good at and have been training for many, many years. To speak about goods, because you spoke about goods as well, of course, the traditional goods, our coffee, our tea, our flowers, horticulture, and so on. But let me also flag that Kenya has recently signed an EU economic partnership agreement that now allows Kenyan goods quota-free access to the EU, various goods, quota-free preferential access to the EU. Basically means that it is much easier to do business with us in parts of the world, and you can truly pick up a lot of goods from there. I know that we have a couple of people as well in the meeting from Kenya Embassy in Berlin who are also able to speak to this. I know Caroline Matemo, for example, is there, and she's able to give a little more detail. To speak to the second question, but I must also invite you to come to Kenya just for tourism. As you know, we do have the Masai Mara, and we have the bush experience and the beach experience and all of this fantastic stuff, the wildebeest migration. You have to experience it. But also, we are the origin of humankind. Some of the oldest fossils are found here in Kenya. So there's a lot of good stuff. But let me move to the second question about the pain points. Because we negotiated this agreement, Marcus, in an interesting way. We dated the Germans for a long time, so to speak. We had a long conversation where we went back and forth and tried to understand how your system works and for you to understand how the Kenyan system works. And in that process, we were able to identify what some of the challenges are and worked them out. Some of the ones that remain on the Kenya side, in my view, the biggest one remains the language. German has not been as widely spoken here in Kenya, but in the last year, we have seen hundreds, no, thousands of Kenyans actually qualify and grow. I'm trying to remember when it was, end of last year, where I actually went to a quote-unquote graduation of some 700 young people who are taking the B1 exam and so on. And this is now something I'm beginning to see a lot across the country. So I think we've hacked that. I think we figured out the language bit and we figured out the examination bit. It used to be a challenge for people to acquire the skill and then to take the exams with Goethe Institute or wherever. A few other options have opened up, such as TELC, and TELC is opening up, and a few others, OSD and so on, that are now offering the German language capacity examination. Some challenges still exist on the German side, such as skills recognition, qualifications and equivalencies. The German bureaucracy is well known around the world for being quite, strong. So what young Kenyans are going to face in terms of challenges, or what we are seeing is that process of equivalencies and of having their skills recognized remains a challenge. But the other piece, I think, is actually information. Just where can people get more and more information about Germany and how to live and work there? So interventions such as the ones we are putting out then remain critical in helping this process be successful. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Roseline. now the questions come popping up. First row, ladies first. Ladies first. Ladies first. First row. Maybe you just shortly introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Lydia Nyota. I am a Kenyan diasporan who is based here in Nuremberg. I've lived in Nuremberg for the last 20 years. And I work a lot with the community. I do medical camps back home. And I'm also as vice chair of the Kenyan women in Germany. And I am also an entrepreneur here in Germany and also back home in Kenya. But I after 20 years of staying here, I still feel myself more as Kenyan. I'm a Kenyan. I will always remain a Kenyan. So my question is to you, our PS, Roseline, and this question, I think we raised it last time when you were here with the president. The thing, when the Kenyans come here, or the outsiders, they come here to work, like this blue card that at the moment is being open, and people are being given visas. So the moment people are here, the reality that is in Germany is very different with what is back home. So on the German side, they will talk to you more about integration, about how you can work, more about the skills that you're coming here for. But there is other things in life that the reality. So when the people land here and they find things very different, we, the people on the ground, we are the ones who suffer. Like, for example, the last two weeks, I was called, 3 ladies came like as nurses here in Germany, and today or tomorrow, I don't know what happened, their boss throw them out, stop the contract. The first people they call is people like people like Njogu, because we are the people on the ground and people know us. So the problem is, every time there is this conversation, the diasporans will be engaged, but we are really not engaged. We stand here, we don't know our roles, but when the people land here, they will not run to the Germans, even if now we are Germans as well, but they will come to us, although we are known by nobody. So we would like that in this process, if it's possible, is it possible to include the Kenyans who live in the diaspora, because we know good the part of the Kenyan side and we know the part of the German side. So we know how to begleit those our young ones when they come here, what they need to do, the integration, because we have lived in Kenya, we are Kenyans who have lived also in Germany. That's my question and my request.
Maybe I can give a short answer to that. Maybe not the answer, but part of an answer. Tomorrow we'll have a dialogue with the diaspora, Irene and her delegation, and the German part. And I do understand your question and what you're asking for being part of what we're talking about, the Kenyan diaspora. Yeah, and I can say yes, we're trying to do this, and tomorrow we're going to speak about this, how we can proceed with this. But maybe, Roseline, you want to echo on this?
Sure. Let me say something to my clients, because those are my clients, and those are the people who make sure that I have a job or very quickly get fired. So, Lydia, it's really good to see you again, and thank you, as always, for your support and for the support that diaspora offer to newcomers. And this is a story around the world. It's not just the Kenyans in Germany supporting newcomer Kenyans. It is the story around the world of every diaspora community. Because if you think about things even back home, when you have a challenge, you don't first run to the government. You always run to your neighbor, to the community. It is the African way. And so we find very often that sometimes even before people come to the embassy or to the State Department with challenges, they will have worked with the diaspora. So I want to start first to acknowledge the important role that diaspora play in being fast responders to issues like that, but also in offering information and knowledge around things that nobody else can give you that information. You're the only one who can tell newcomers where they can get their sister locks done, or where they can get, certain services done, or where to go to a church that feels like home, and that kind of thing. So I want to recognize that really important role that you play, and to say that indeed we can deepen our engagement on how to make it a little more structured, especially in places where we are expecting to see more and more newcomers. So we do need to deepen that, and we are happy to hear your suggestions. And my team is there with you. They're happy to hear your suggestions on how we can do that a little bit better. But also to work with everybody around the table, especially with this work and stay center. I'd like to know how the diaspora can plug well into that, and I think you will be able to advance that conversation tomorrow. So to say that we appreciate what you do, our commitment to working with you remains solid. We would very much like to hear from you, especially starting tomorrow on this conversation, how you think we could engage with you a little in ways that make sense for you, so that we are able to support you as you support the newcomer Kenyans. But let me also just acknowledge the amazing work that Quig does within Germany. I really appreciate the work that Quig does for Kenyans in Germany.
One more question?
Yes, I have one question. Good evening. My name is Lois. I live also very long in Germany since 2008. Those are so many years. Yeah, I love both countries. I'm integrated. I love this country very much, and I love Kenya too. And just like she talked and said about the people who come to Germany, we feel for them because we would like that the integration works, that the inclusion also works, that that this work and stay center good works. But we need the information flow to flow better down to us. When you look in the hall, we are only 1, 2, 3 people who live in Germany. There is too little information flow for those people who are around who can help the people who are coming to Germany. And would like more inclusion, just like she said. And I wanted to ask if these programs, are they only done in Unterfranken? Or I did not say I am a farmer. I am a kleine Unternehmerin. I am a farmer in North Germany. I am coming here to represent North Germany, Schleswig-Holstein, and Hamburg. And the question is, are you going to put this work also, or the people, the companies, can only the companies in Unterfranken work with you? Or Mittelfranken, nicht Unterfranken, Mittelfranken. Mittelfranken.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a distinction.
It's a distinction. Okay. That we need more inclusion.
Yeah.
That is very important. And for the companies who are all here, who are getting people from Kenya, can they do more? Can they integrate the people more? Because we have a lot of mental problems going around with all the people who are coming in Germany. They are coming here, the culture shock. Like now in winter, it's the weather shock. You start with the weather shock, and then the culture shock, and then the job shock.
Yeah.
There are so many things, and it's very good that they are being integrated in Kenya. There are things being done in Kenya, but back here, there is little done. And we want to take part. We are more than ready to take part to help the Kenyans and the Germans, that we work all together and that everybody is happy. We want to take part in that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You forgot to mention the food shock. Just to give you a quick answer. Right now we're setting up shop with this Work and Stay Center Mittelfranken. So it's not yet up and running. But we're doing everything we can to get started as soon as possible and be as operational as possible. And of course this includes working with Diaspora. And we will have various formats to bring together the different groups, the different diasporas, the different communities. For example, I can already say today that on October 10th, we will have an International Community Day here in Nuremberg for the first time that brings together all the communities that are here with the authorities and the various partners who do support people from outside to come in. And this is a joint effort. It's not about Germans helping foreigners to come in. It's about a joint effort. We're all Nurembergers. We're all Central Franconians. And we all do support people who come in to be part of our society. And this is what it is about. And of course, there has to be more information flow, etc. And this is something we try to put into place with the new Work and Stay Center Mittelfranken. But it's Mittelfranken so far. But there's room for growth, right? no, we just got started. Alas.
My name is Thomas Lask. I used to work as a company lawyer for a US company here in Mittelfranken. We've already heard a couple of disadvantages here in Germany, like culture shock and bureaucracy, language barrier, and cold weather, and so on. And we are not alone in Germany. I think when we talk about the high potentials in Kenya, they have the choice, actually. They can go to the US, they can go to UK, the Scandinavian countries. So if you had to put up a ranking, where does Germany stand? Are we, I don't know, maybe 10 or so? That means the best ones go to the UK and then to other countries, and we get those who don't find another place in another part of the world. I just want to see where we stand in Germany with regard to the pros and the cons here.
Are you asking me? we're
would say Germany,
number one.
Number one, and Mittelfranken is the best part of
okay, sure. No, that's a good question.
Going to the
to Roseline. But maybe one more question, one last question, maybe.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Burkhard Witte. I'm responsible or representative for the Siemens AG here. Siemens has around about 40,000 people who work here in this region of Metropol region Nuremberg. And Germany or Siemens, we are faced, there's no more the challenge of demographic change. That means the Germans are every older, and a lot of our specialists will leave the company. That means a shortage of specialists, and that means for Siemens engineering in big data, AI applications, engineering, edge technology, and this means we are looking for these people, not perhaps today, but tomorrow, surely. Everybody will really search for them. And I think what you mentioned is what is the border? What's the first? I think it's the culture, but it means language. That means for us it's also important. Of course, English, in our offices we speak English, but in the daily life it's better you speak German to be well integrated. B2, better C1. And also, I think it helps us for Siemens if these people who want to come to Germany already worked in a bigger company in Kenya. International company will help us. That means they have certain really experiences. They don't start it. They're not beginners. And this is helpful for us. And this is the question to Roseline. Do you have really people who have certain experiences already worked in companies that want to come? Or is these also people they only, or they leave now the university with master degree, bachelor? This is our question from my side for Siemens. We need really people with certain experiences and B2 is C1 language knowledge in German. Thank you.
Okay, Roseline.
All right, so I'll try and take those questions. I'll start with my other client, Lois. Again, just to say that I agree with you, we need to work together a little more. We can do a lot more as far as information sharing is concerned. And I hope that you will be a part of the conversation tomorrow in helping us, craft a way forward where we can work together. a little more, and for us to listen to you, for us as GOK to listen to you and hear how we could tap into what you're doing and how we could collaborate with the diaspora a little more. We know that the diaspora is a critical stakeholder in this process. We have to map out a little clearly how then we can work with you in a structured way. To say on the question around where does Germany rank, you're trying to get me in trouble. But let me say this. Germany was the first country to recognize Kenya's independence. So we have a very old and long-standing relationship. Kenya and Germany are good friends, and we have done a lot of things together. In fact, if you come to Nairobi, you will notice that your embassy has the distinct honor of having the number plate CD1. So the highest ranking as far as diplomatic sort of respect is concerned. But beyond that, even though German language is not as widely spoken as, of course, English or even French, here it is something that a lot of Kenyans are interested in and have really picked up. I think, like many other parts of the world, people do admire Germany and want to experience, especially German engineering and so on. But you might also want to know that even though I say German is not as widely spoken, there are several people who studied German for 4 years in high school, like I did, for example. And so there are a number, and increasingly a growing number, of people very interested in coming to Germany. I also say that because when you sign agreements like the one we did, and we signed a similar agreement with Austria as well, now there's an increasing interest in Germany because there's a clear and structured pathway. And that's what a lot of young people respond to. What that has also meant is that now universities, TVETs, colleges are creating structured programs to produce quote unquote talent for the German market. So we know that, some nursing schools, for example, are getting into specific programs with German employers and are training nurses with the idea that a number of those nurses are going to work in Germany, and so on. So even at an institutional level, at a business level, there's a real interest and a growing interest. So let me assure you that this is something that Kenyans are quite interested in. And also Kenyans pick up languages fairly easily. Most of us speak at least 3 languages. You speak your mother tongue, you speak Kiswahili, you speak English. And if your parents come from different ethnicities, then you speak at least 4 languages. So picking up languages is fairly easy for us. Let me say to the question around whether it is only new graduates who are interested in coming or experienced people who are interested in coming, we are seeing both. We are seeing, brand new, freshly minted sort of graduates interested in coming. And of course, that usually comes with, when you're young, you have very few responsibilities, you probably don't have a family, it becomes much easier for you to make those kinds of decisions. But we also see experienced people interested in trying something new. And so that is also available. And what is particularly important for the more experienced talent is, the comfort of moving with your family, opportunity that your spouse is also going to be able to find a job, whether your children are going to be able to find schools and that kind of thing. So we're seeing both of those. I wanted to segue here and say that it's also important for us to create, and I'm happy that we're having this conversation with the Chamber, to start to create new and interesting pathways. For example, if a Chamber of handcrafts, you're interested in something like, let me see, something that comes from what you call your house building sort of projects or programs, then this is a good opportunity for us to build something. Let's say we are talking about tilers, or we are talking about solar panel installers, or meat cutters, and that kind of thing. What we are building here allows us to build pilots, specific pathways within your own chambers. And then what that allows us to do is back home, we can start to prepare a group, say, of meat cutters for a chamber of, a group of meat cutters in Nuremberg, who then become a pilot project for us, to do. So these are some of the opportunities that I'm hoping people in the room are going to be able to pick up and have conversations with. And again, as I mentioned, my team is on the ground and is able to have those conversations with you. Thank you, Marcus.
Okay. Well, actually, no. 2 last questions, short answer, so that we can, have you the rest of the evening, Roseline, and we won't take you too long.
Thank you very much. Actually, I don't have a question.
You don't have a question?
I have a remark. First of all, thank you very much for having me, Mr. Lodge, and also Mr. Sisman. It's really a pleasure. Shortly introduce myself. My name is Catherine Karanja. I work with Diaspora Bayern, which is the association for hotels and restaurants here in Bavaria. And I'm in charge actually for the vocational training and also for securing skilled labor for the gastronomy. So actually we've been to Kenya with a delegation of hotels. We had a school who joined us. It's the Berufsschule Erding, because we actually currently have a program with GIZ and also with IHK. So I'm happy to see Bruno. I don't know where he is.
Over there.
Yeah, we've been working very closely together, and also with KINAP. So I'm also happy to see Principal Sami, who was also with us last week. So managing migration was a point, and it's a very important point. And I really want to emphasize that. And what we're doing with our program is we're preparing young students already in Kenya for this step to come to Germany. So last week, our delegation was split into groups. So we had a group who was really having a selection program, so where hotels were able to be matched with students. And on the other hand, our teachers were in KINAP, exchanging knowledge and creating programs on how to prepare young students when they come here to do the Ausbildung. So we were very happy to have 10 students who will be starting their apprenticeship here in Germany in September. And we also have a lot of students in the waiting list, because it was very hard for us to really decide, because they were very well prepared. Their language was great, so we had the interviews also in German. So I just want to tell you that things are going on in Kenya. There are things that we see. I speak for Diaspora Bayern. Actually, I was born and raised in Kenya, but I grew up in Germany, so I'm both. And I know both cultures, so we know the challenges, but we also know the chances that are here in Germany in terms of career and building a new life in Germany. And we want to make that as seamless as possible for whoever who wants to come. We want to welcome them with open arms and actually be ready. So what we do is we also prepare our hotels here in Germany with intercultural trainings, and are there also for them if they need anything or in case of any questions. So I'm really happy to be here, and looking forward to have a nice conversation with all of you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a very last question.
Ich mache es ganz kurz. Thank you so much, IHK. I think I also feel at home. I live in Nuremberg, originally from Kenya, and I've also lived here for quite some time, about 24 years. And I'll just have some few points. I'll keep it very short. Some remarks also to the PS. Thank you so much. We missed you. We would have played with the snow if you came, but don't worry. We'll put in the bags and send it over to you. I'm also in the recruitment sector. We've placed about 54 Azubis here in Germany. And I'm a person who have learned about long-term. Germans like planning, right? Germans are people who think on long-term goals. So as we execute these things, let's also think about these people that are coming to work and stay here. They have to stay. die müssen hier bleiben. They have to finish what brought them here. So also think about the bottom-up strategy. These people that are coming, we have someone from Siemens, we have Geschäftsführer here, we have people who are in higher positions. When these Atsubis come, they will not be working with you, they'll not be working with you, they'll be working with Mr. Mueller, who has no clue that there are some Kenyan Atsubis coming. Please make sure you communicate this bottom-up approach. Let Mr. Mueller know tomorrow, next week, a Kenyan is coming. It makes a lot of sense. And please capitalize on Kenyans. I actually have a name here, IHK Buddies. I don't know whether that makes sense. We have Kenyans who are working in this country. I work, for example, for the Bundesagent of Arbeit. I'll be very happy to see Kenyans working for the Bundesagent of Arbeit. I would be very happy if a Kenyan working for Siemens sends a note, oh, there's a Kenyan, there's a group of Kenyans coming to do Atsubis at Siemens. Please, we are here. We know them, right? Lydia, right? We know them. We will link you up, and I have to applaud Catherine. Carol Muhlenbrock, I don't know whether you know Carol Muhlenbrock. You have to Google her. She's a Kenyan chef. She is part of her project. She has a restaurant here. She has done her Ausbildung here, and she was part of the team in Kenya. Sie weiß, worum es geht. Sorry, I get emotional sometimes, but these are the people we want to be seen in part of these executions. Finally, please invite us to review some of these MOUs that you're signing, if you can. I have seen bitter people who are very sad. They came with this Shonsekati. If I was part of the team that was reviewing this Shonsekati, I would have said, please do not give visas to people who are coming to look for jobs that Germany is not looking for. I have a lady, she was a senior human resource, had a company car. She left her 3 children and came here with a Shonsekati. She's lived here for 1 year. They had B2, kriegt keine Stelle. So please invite us. We may not have the knowledge, but we speak the language, we speak the dialects, but we also think the reality on the ground. Let us be part of, let us help us. We will review the MOUs before you put a signature on them. Thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you very much for your remarks, and we will also tell it to Frau Schmidt, not only Herr Müller. Well, thank you, Roseline. This was really worth the time, and we're so sad that you cannot be here in person, but we will invite you, and you will come. We're looking forward to it. And by closing, let me just say, you said visit Kenya for the bush experience and the beach experience. Let me add, it's also about the people experience, because the Kenyans I met, they're really wonderful people with a large, huge heart, and very, very warm people. It's fun to work with and to have a beer with. That's the way. Well, thank you very much. And Roseline, all the best to you, and see you again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you very much for everybody who has had questions, and for my diaspora who are clearly very engaged. I'm proud of you, and I'm looking forward to having a deeper conversation. Thank you once again for the invitation, and I look forward to coming in person and experiencing Nuremberg for myself. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and guten Nacht.
Ja, vielen Dank. Wir sind durch. Ich hoffe, das hat Ihnen auch Freude bereitet und war für Sie interessant. In English, well, thank you for coming and attending. I hope you enjoyed the meeting as much as we did, as I did, and I think it's a new chapter we are opening. It's a big book, and we are writing the first page. So there are many more pages and MOUs to follow that fill this book. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for time, for your interest. Have a good night, good evening, and a good way back home. Thank you very much.